Hey everyone, welcome to the Mission for Freedom podcast. It's so great to see you here today. Thanks for joining me. If you're new here, we're for freedom. We're not Republicans, Democrats, independent. We stand for freedom, which means we stand for truth. So that's what we're all about. And it's kind of refreshing to just talk about truth without having to have a label. So thank you so much for being here. Follow us on your favorite platform, wherever you're watching. We are live on Rumble, Truth Social, Annie Cyrus's Facebook, I believe, and X American News on X, and then Facebook. X American News is everywhere. Facebook, Truth Social. If you're not following X American News, I highly encourage you to do that. If you're okay with that, you will get unadulterated truth there. And there's so many great podcasters there that just have different angles. Mine might be a little bit different from another one you'll see. So it's kind of like one-stop shopping. So just give us a follow, show us some love. I know that's not really a big deal to a lot of folks unless you're doing this kind of thing, but a little bit really goes a long way. So thank you so much. And thank you to our fabulous sponsors, Miles Franklin Precious Metals. We have Inez, our producer, has lutfstudio.com, amazing art. Really, she could probably make almost anything for you. If you email her, just hop on her website. She'll have all of her contact information there. But paintings and sculptures and vases and really things that I didn't think she's really a resin magician. That's really what she is. She's really great with resin and lots of different things. So lutfstudio.com. So thank you, Ina, so much. And then we also have a myriad of affiliates. If those things don't rock your boat, My Pillow, they have slippers, sheets, pillows, all the things they have. You can hop on their website at mypillow.com and use the code MISSION there and with Ina's for a discount at lutfstudio.com. But if that doesn't float your boat, just check out all the affiliates below. There really is something for everyone. The Wellness Company, we sell a lot of things from the Wellness Company. They have so many kits to prepare you for whatever comes down the pike. So we appreciate your support. We're here for you. And we're live every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. Central. And so we're live because we want to talk with you, hear your thoughts, comments, suggestions for topics or guests. We're really here for you. So hop on, join in, and email or comment. And then my producer, Ina, she will grab those comments and put them here for me, and we'll respond to as many as we can. Well, we had a guest today. She had to reschedule due to technical difficulties, but we're going to have her. She'll be here Thursday with us at 3 p.m. Central, and that is Mary Flynn O'Neill. She is the youngest of all the Flynn siblings, and she has two brothers younger than her. But she is so amazing because she's fighting human trafficking with the organization America's Future. General Flynn is the chair, she's the director. And I just cannot wait for you to meet her and hear her story growing up as a Flynn. And then also, this organization is phenomenal. They have several different pillars, three in particular: litigation, education, and then fighting and combating human trafficking. And Laura Logan is on the board there, and she is part of that organization. It's just incredible. And Lynn's Piper, I interviewed her. Actually, I think it was like a couple of weeks ago. It was with Lynn's, and she has an amazing testimony as well. And so she's part of that organization too. So I just encourage you all to join in Thursday and listen to that. It's going to be really encouraging, and she'll give you different things you can do to get involved and just to learn about it, to spot it, and to fight for these kids who are voiceless. So she's coming on Thursday, but I did want to talk to you all before I do have my amazing producer joining me today. But before she joins us, I did want to talk to you about what's going on with the tariffs. Now, I know everybody's talking about tariffs. I'm not going to get into that. You can just click on any podcast host, and I'm sure, or Fox News, any outlet, they are going to be talking all about tariffs. It's all the rage. But I wanted to talk about the flip side of that. But before I do, I did want to, if you guys are able to comment, I'd love to hear your thoughts about this, because I was just thinking the other day, regarding the tariffs, that this is a pillar, a campaign promise that Trump ran on. He has talked about tariffs for a really long time. I mean, way before he was president. And Patrick Bet David has also, another podcaster, has talked about the history of tariffs and how our country was supported 100%. It might have been like 99 or 98% on tariffs. So it's just interesting that people are freaking out. Number one, because Trump ran on this. And then number two, that our country was run on tariffs before we even had taxes. I know we've kind of been like lulled to sleep with the taxation situation, but y'all remember that statement, taxation without representation? That was one of the reasons we formed America. Not the reason, but one of the reasons. So I think we're just also used to being taxed. Like if you make over a certain amount of money, you're giving almost half of your income to the government when you're in the upper tier. And it's just absolutely crazy to me. So I want to talk to you today, though, about the flip side of the tariffs, and that is what is happening to the markets. The markets are not necessarily responding to the tariff talk; they're responding to the uncertainty, and that's no surprise. The stock market has always responded to uncertainty and been quite volatile. What I want to talk to you today about is gold and silver and precious metals, because I think it's kind of comical if you talk to, oh gosh, like a financial planner, investor. Some of them say completely crazy things like, well, if you take your money out of the stock market and buy gold and silver, you might as well just bury it under your mattress. But what is so fascinating, when I had Andy Scheckman on here from Miles Franklin Precious Metals, he was talking about how gold over the last 20 years has really outpaced the S&P 500. I believe the annualized return was something like, don't quote me on this, but around 9.8%, and then the S&P 500 was like 9.6. So it's pretty close, but technically gold outpaced the S&P 500. So, but like he always says, gold is not an investment, it's wealth. And you don't buy it. You could trade it, I guess, but really it's been wealth for 5,000 years. It's outlasted, the depression, world wars, all these things. It's lasted and it's not depreciated, but appreciated. And so I wanted to talk to you about that today because I rolled over my IRA. Actually, I cashed it out, and that was the end of July, and it was about $1,800 an ounce, somewhere in there, close to 2,000. I think it was $1,800 or $1,900 an ounce. And now it hit 3,000 in March, the middle of March, and now it's dipped down. I think today it's about 2,900. But my goodness, there aren't a ton of stocks that are going to perform like that. And that's the neat thing about gold and silver. It's steady Eddie, It's not like this sexy stock that's like, ooh, I put in $5 and then, next month it's 20,000. You know what I mean? That get rich quick stuff. I mean, sometimes it works, but it's super risky and it doesn't beat inflation. It's not hedging. You're not hedging against inflation. And so I wanted to show you this picture. So in the last year, gold that has just skyrocketed. It's pretty much a straight line up. Even in the stock market, you'll see it kind of go up and down, up and down. And it does it a little bit, obviously. But my goodness, it has just absolutely soared. And hitting the 3,000 mark in the middle of March. This was from today. So when I screenshotted this, it was 29.87. But now is the time to get into this market. And I just encourage you to call me. I am a broker for Miles Franklin Precious Metals, and we can basically beat almost anybody in their pricing. And so if you call 1-833-213 FREED, or 1-833-213-7333, that is my number. You can call me and we can at least just have a conversation about this, because now is the time. Central banks are buying up gold in record amounts, historic amounts. And it's like, what do they know that we don't know, right? And so gold is not just like an insurance policy. I mean, it's outpaced the S&P 500 over the last 20 years. So even though Andy Scheckman doesn't call it an investment, it's not like you're burying it under your mattress. And so I just wanted to encourage you all, at least do something. If you don't have an IRA, some people are like, I don't have an IRA. I can't just roll that over. You could at least buy silver, just an ounce or two every few weeks. I know my sister's been doing that. I have friends who have done that. And actually, I have a client who's getting ready to just start in a regimented, consistent way, just like you would put money in a retirement account, just slowly just stockpiling it, and it will add up in time. I wanted to also say, if you do have an IRA, you don't have to roll the whole thing over. You can roll over part of it. So it's just wise. This is something you will want to do, because what's happening right now is unprecedented. And that's what, if you see it raining, you're going to grab an umbrella. That's what this is like. We're seeing things happening that have never happened before. And America used to sell gold. We used to export it. Now America, for the first time, has been a net importer of gold ever. And so you say, why is that? Somebody knows something that we don't. And there's lots of instability and volatility that's going to continue. And we just don't know why these central banks are doing this. But I wanted to play a clip from Andy Schechtman. As I said, he is the founder and CEO of Miles Franklin Precious Metals. I'm an outside broker for them. They have been in business for 34 years and have over 9 billion, capital B, billion in sales. And so I really encourage you to listen to what he has to say here, because he has so much wisdom, so much knowledge of the markets. He's really good friends with Robert Kiyosaki, and he speaks literally all over the world on the precious metal market, what's happening geopolitically, how it all relates. He's incredibly smart. He studies for hours every single day, and he's just really wise. So take a listen to these clips. I'd love to talk to you about it on the other side.
Right now, I think the whole world has awoken to inflation, to anxiety, to war, to currency debasement, to political and geopolitical, to divisiveness, all of these things that are spinning and spinning and spinning in every different direction. And all of a sudden, people are waking up. So the metal that used to flow to the US from the UK and Australia and Austria and South Africa, it's not anymore. And within a matter of the last few weeks, getting product has become really, really, really frighteningly difficult. I guess I could sum it up in one sentence, and that is that the price is in nowhere even the same ballpark, a reflection of demand, which is many, 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 many times greater than what the price would tell us. As one of only 27 U.S. Mint authorized resellers in the world for 30 years, we've been doing this for 33. The last 2.5 years, everything has gone upside down since the pandemic. Everything. When I talk to people about using gold and silver as a vehicle to protect oneself, it's not an investment, it's wealth. It's wealth that's lived through 2 world wars and German hyperinflation and the Great Depression and every pandemic, and is still immutable wealth. And while we are in a very scary boat of uncharted waters surrounding us, I still think the safest place to be is the life raft that is a 5,000-year-old gold and silver life raft, and look at it as wealth. And if you own enough of it, you'll be wealthy. Might even allow you not just to survive, but to thrive in what is coming. But certainly I don't sell it and don't advise anyone buy it to get wealthy. Buy it to get the hell out of the way of what's coming down the pike.
Yeah, it's really a no-brainer. And I wanted to point out the fact that Miles Franklin is one out of 27 U.S. mint dealers in the world. One out of 27. So that's pretty impressive. And I know before I purchased gold and silver, I just didn't know much about it. And it's scary when you're doing something different, especially with money. You've worked so hard. You have a legacy you're leaving for your children. You just don't want to mess it up or waste money. I'd see the ads on TV and I was like, oh, I just, it's scary. You just don't know. What I love about Miles Franklin is that they are like a family precious metals boutique, and they're massively known for customer service. And it's just, they have phenomenal reputations, not one complaint with the Better Business Bureau in 34 years as well. So just a phenomenal company, and they have the best pricing. So now's the time. And when you think about it, why wouldn't you? If gold outpaced the S&P 500 over the last 20 years, and it's a hedge against inflation, and it's a hard asset that you can hold on to, no grid is going to shut it down, no bank is going to shut it down. I mean, and it's really undervalued. So, I mean, why would you not? And I'm just thinking out loud. This is what I said to myself. Why would you not? Why would you not have a gold and silver backed IRA? Like, what is the disadvantage when it's outpaced the S&P 500 in the last 20 years? So anyway, I just encourage you to give me a call. Let's have a conversation and at least just talk about it and start getting educated. And I believe that is the first and foremost thing we do about anything, any truth filled event or situation, we need to just at least learn and start there. Start educating yourself. Just start Googling, listen to podcasts about gold and silver, and at least start there. But I'm telling you, gold has been soaring. I'm sure you've heard it a little bit. The mainstream media isn't talking about it a lot, but it has grown substantially. So give me a call. Let's talk about it. And at least at the bare minimum, just start buying some silver. It's always hovering around $30 an ounce, and that is a doable place that we can start. And then also, I want to have Ines come in because there's so much going on right now, and I'd love for her to weigh in. Ines, can you hop on? Oh, yeah, that sounds great. Okay. All right. So don't go anywhere. We are going to have an ad break real quick, and then we'll bring her in on the other side.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. I've got all your My Pillow products: mattress topper, bed sheets, My Pillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 My Pillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard My Pillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use My Pillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to mypillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all My Pillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard My Pillows absolutely free.
And those pillows are absolutely amazing. We have them all throughout our house. And I don't know if y'all have heard this in some of the commercials, but there's some type of cooling thing that helps you not get really hot with the pillow as well. But it's just amazing. And if you don't need pillows, just go to mypillow.com and look at all the things. You will be surprised, I guarantee you, if you haven't been on there ever or even recently, all the products they have. I have their slippers and just a ton of their products. They have robes and pajamas and things for your dogs, dog beds. It's really pretty incredible how many different products he makes. But that's mypillow.com. And use the code mission. And because we're fighting for freedom, mission for freedom, right? That's our name, mission for freedom. Mike Lindell is too on that same mission. And I'm telling you what, he has been attacked like none other. I mean, the radical left, the Marxists, the communists, they hate him because he's unafraid and he will not stop speaking the truth. So when you're doing anything, when you're purchasing anything from My Pillow, when you get on that website, you're supporting him as well. And then you're getting a wonderful American-made products, and they won't be more expensive because of tariffs. So you'll be supporting America. You're supporting Mike Lindell, and you're supporting the Mission for Freedom podcast and America, our mission for freedom. You're supporting our country. So head over to mypillow.com, use code mission, and everybody wins. Okay, so now we're going to bring on my beautiful producer. You're going to see her picture there. I'm going to try to get her on live next time, but we need to give her more notice. But Ines, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. Honestly, I was looking forward to hearing your discussion with Mary, but when technical difficulty got in the way, as always, I'm like, yay, that was like a
She's like my backup. I'm like, be ready. Always be ready. You never know when you're coming on Mission for Freedom.
Yes, and that's the thing. I it's not about the time. I am working on upgrading some of the equipment. The problem is when I'm producing and I try to be on camera, I'm looking away too much and I can't help but to think it's very disrespectful to audience because I'm trying to talk to them, but then I'm looking away and clicking. But as soon as we upgrade the equipment, I promise I will join you live on camera. That's a promise.
Yes.
Give me a couple of
Okay,
weeks.
good. Okay, I love it. Well, I wanted to talk to you a couple of things that are going on right now. So, and I know I'm going to talk about this with Mary, but I was really taken aback by this clip that she had on her X account. It was on America's Future and then also Mary Flynn O'Neill. She played a clip there, and it was in Florida. Florida News was sharing it, and it was it was disturbing. Like last night, I literally wanted to throw up. But and again, we'll talk about it on Thursday. But I think people, as it relates to human trafficking, you know, I know for me, until I met Mary and General Flynn, I knew about it and it bothered me, but I guess I just didn't have a way to do anything about it. I didn't know what to do. And that's what I love it about America's Future is that they actually have seminars and these summits, and they go around, they teach you, even realtors, they teach realtors how to spot human trafficking. I just think it's an amazing organization. But this clip, Inez, the gentleman who was speaking was talking about how they found over 1 million pornographic videos from this international human trafficking ring, and they said many of them, the videos were with babies, and I just was like, this is so incredibly vile. And I think as Americans, we hear that and we're like, how could this possibly be happening? And then we think, oh, I'm in this state, that's in Oklahoma, we're fine. But it's literally everywhere. And because of your past in Iran, or Islamic Republic of Iran, I want to say that correctly, because of your past, you're probably, I mean, while it sickens and angers and makes you just completely disgusted inside, it's not like probably super surprising to you.
Well, first of all, let me say this. Wow, great job on that pronunciation, girl. Then you
I've been
nailed it.
practicing.
Yes,
I've been
ma'am.
practicing.
Very proud of you.
Let me say, we were on the phone one night and I was getting, a lesson. I'm like, most people say Iran. And she said, no, it's like Iran, like ear. I'm like, okay. And then she said, oh, no, Islamic Republic. And I was like, wait, what? What Republic of? And so anyway, it's really pretty impressive.
Right, the hypocrisy in that one, like 3 words, Islamic Republic. I mean, there is no republic next to, like, what are you talking about? Anyways, I'm not going to sidetrack your topic. Yes, I wouldn't say, okay, so let me break this down. My head, as you said, in my head, it's still pretty disturbing, yes. However, it's not an unusual event. It's not. I posted a meme a long time ago of a supreme leader of Iran, the first one, the one that's dead, Khomeini, who put out a lot of bounties. He has a little book. I strongly suggest for everyone to read it. It's literally called the color green book, Khomeini. I have it. I tell everybody to read it because in that book you find a majority of bases of his rulings into the country. And one of them actually is, it's literally flat out goes, I'm paraphrasing, it goes something as, try not to have sex with a baby girl, but if you end up doing and damage her body, just make sure to pay for her life for the rest of her life.
Oh, that's in that book?
Yes, it's one of his judgments. It was his Islamic judgment as the supreme leader of the country. So if try to control your urges, but if you end up not being done just using your hands and you have to use other parts of your body and it damages the baby, just take care of her cost of living. Again, property, right? Pay for it. Now, if you end up killing the baby, then you have to pay the blood money to her family. That's it. So it's pretty messed up when I say this. But yes, when I hear that clip, it doesn't make me like, this is so impossible, it's not going to happen. No, It will happen. It has happened. I have seen it. But when you come to America now, I mean, it's a great thing that an average American brain cannot comprehend such a scenario, let alone accept such a scenario. But the bad side, the negative side to that is because they can't comprehend it, they will reject it. Therefore, it keeps growing to where it gets out of control. It becomes today what we face. So it's that challenge of, okay, it's good, you're sheltered, you're kind of, your mindset cannot accept such a disgusting behavior, but guess what, some people do it, so you need to accept the existence of this monster. Now, as you said, organizations like America's Future attend their seminars, go in there first, learn about what's happening, then learn how to deal with it, how to take action. I attended one of them right here in Ohio, and that was it. It was literally word by word of the whole 2 days was what is happening, why it's happening, and how you can get involved one way or another. They had so many call to action items, Miriam, that was like anybody at any point in any situation of life can get involved with their mission. So yes, there are ways. Question is, who's willing to get involved?
Yeah. And it's kind of like the gold and silver topic. I think, and this is my opinion, but, and I'm basing it on maybe my experience and those in my immediate circle. But I think sometimes, I don't know if you agree with this, Ines, but I think sometimes when we don't understand something, or something makes us feel uncomfortable, or we're not sure of ourselves, we just go back to our normal ways. Like with gold, like I'll just stay in the stock market because it's been around forever, and we have had some crashes, but it's all I know. And so I'm just going to, and that's all the mainstream media really talks about, so I'm just going to stay in that lane, instead of saying, okay, I know I'm uncomfortable with this, but I'm going to learn about it, and then I'm going to see if I need to do something. Obviously, with human trafficking, we do. But I think sometimes, or we have this level of cognitive dissonance where, like, we don't even want to hear it because it's so disturbing. But when I think about these voiceless children, when, there are a million videos, and what about all these children that Biden, over 300,000 children that Biden has no idea? He had no idea. We have no idea. And no one's even talking about that. But yet, we're taking our kids to soccer practice, doing our laundry, making dinner, or going to work, going to church. And yes, we need to do all those things, but surely there's something every single American could do every day to help.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. It goes back to this thing. Me and you, we have had this discussion off air, that the fear of unknown will limit people's possibilities, and that's what we're facing. As far as there's something everybody can do, yes. First of all, this is gonna. I will say this is my opinion, not Miriam's, to your audience. If you're offended, it's me. Listen, all of these kids who end up being trafficked, snatched, missing, whatever, they had parents, right? Parents failed. So the very first thing any American can do, if you're a parent, don't fail. Put the time into checking on your kid. Raise them right. Give them enough attention so they don't go seek it somewhere else. Listen, there are so many cases, Miriam. I have worked. I worked with an organization in South Carolina many years ago. I was helping them with translation mainly. But there was a long list of teenage girls who were seeking attention, found the wrong place, and disappeared forever until they popped up on these websites. That's one of the things. Let's face it. We have so many. I have watched families, parents who, instead of, kind of sort of, it's not just the attention thing. It's like, they pick on their kids, especially your daughters, right? You're too fat. You're too short. What is that? Why are you wearing this? Why do you look like that? That doesn't help. So here you go. That's the very first base. If you are, even if you're not a parent, there are kids around you.
That's right.
Be truthful.
Build them up.
Exactly. Be truthful, but build them up and teach
right.
them. Your looks has nothing to do with your end goal.
Value.
Okay?
And your value. Yeah.
So that's the very basic. As far as other things, as you mentioned, Linz Piper Loomis. She's out there literally, physically hunting down these victims and setting up meetings with them and rescuing them from what's happening. Now, if you have the time, if you have the luxury of getting out there physically and spending a couple of days to get these meetings going and pick up the kid and take him back to police department or home, whatever it is, do that. So yes, again, but it goes back to, listen, Miriam, we're weird creatures, right? Our brain has this very wonderful thing of protecting us. It is not an easy task for someone who has not witnessed this kind of stuff to, again, Linz Piper Loomis, since we brought her up, for your audience who might have possibly missed your interview with her, and her graciously sitting in for you last week also, just check out Mission for Freedom YouTube channel. You find them, but she has been through a hell of her own. She was trafficked. She had three of her unborn child that were conceived during rape were sacrificed for satanic practices. That's the thing. She's been there. She's done that. So for her to get up and go do it, it's kind of tragically natural because nobody was there to do it for her. But for those who have not seen it, felt it, it's this nightmare of, I have had, this is a little, but evil is evil. I have had people tell me that, I know you tell me unless I read the Quran, I won't understand Islam, but I'm afraid of the darkness of Quran. Okay. And that's the
Mm,
thing. A lot of people are afraid of the level
yeah.
of darkness they're going to witness if they actually directly get involved with these rescue missions. But here's the bottom line. It is what it is. If you're okay with knowing how many kids, honestly, let's even go to adults. We have grown adult women who are
Hmm.
being trafficked too.
That's right.
So, but yes, I'm with you. I said kids are off limit. Leave them alone. Let them be kids.
Hmm.
If you're okay with going to sleep knowing what's happening, well, good for you. I definitely won't be seeing you in heaven. However, if you're not, even if it's the smallest, just a little tiny bit of a spark in the back of your head, put on your big boy or big girl pants and get out there.
That's right. And the Bible talks about this, that he says, whatever you do to the least of the brethren, you've done it unto me. And then also, he says it'd be better for you to have a millstone tied around your neck and tossed into the sea than to harm one of his little children. And so I do believe that at someday when we stand before Jesus, that we'll give an account for what we did and did not do. And you might not know what to do. You can get on America's Future, get on their website, check it out. Maybe go to one of their summits coming up, or just watch. I'm sure they're streaming them as well. But whatever, I mean, we could make a little bit of effort to at least learn about it and be praying about it and asking the Lord, what we could do. I wanted to just touch on something you said, and again, I know we're going to have Mary on Thursday, but and this is something I'd love to talk to her about. But if you've watched the Flynn movie, if you haven't, I highly encourage you to watch it. I was obsessed with this movie. General Flynn was like, "What?" I told him I watched it 4 times. I could not get enough of it. First of all, there's a lot of information, and so for me, I just needed to watch it quite a bit, because it's unbelievable, and it's heartbreaking. I cried every single time what they did to try to literally destroy that family, including General Flynn, but his entire family. But what stood out to me was the loyalty in that family and how they fought so hard for truth and they just never back down. And I thought about that, and I know Mary will talk about this when she comes on, but what I've heard her talk about, and you kind of touched on this, Inez, was the reason why her siblings and her, how they all turned out so well, and General Flynn, and how they're very strong and disciplined and they fight for truth and they don't back down, is because of the way they were raised. And she talked specifically about her mom and how her mom would take she and General Flynn to these events, going to Washington D.C. And she said she was like 8 years old when she said I would just watch my mom's face. And I thought about that, and I thought about what, when maybe we leave our kids at home because we're like, oh, I'm going to city council, or oh, I'm going to this school board meeting, or I'm going to this, and maybe we're trying to shield them, or we don't even think that it would be good to take our kids. But I'm telling you what, if you can take your kids to everything and let them learn by watching you go stand, or just like going to a wedding, and they can learn about marriage, and that this is what the Bible, describes as, you leave your mother and father and you become one with your spouse, of the opposite sex. And it's a great way for them to learn. And I love that Mary has said that there are things that her mom took her to that she never ever forgot. And I think that you were touching on that when you said, you should know what your kids are doing and include them.
Exactly. And since you brought it up, it's very interesting. Flynn, the movie, has been a topic of my discussion today. This is the fourth time it's being brought up, funny enough.
Are you serious?
Yes, ma'am.
That's so funny.
Yeah, since this morning, this is the fourth time that Flynn, the movie, has been brought up. But one of the times I was talking about it was that I have watched it 5 times.
Oh, you beat me.
I
I
know.
didn't know
Well,
anybody's
okay,
watched
no.
it 4 times.
To be fair though, one of the 5 times was me sitting there, and the very first time I ever had General Flynn on air and had a chance to discuss his movie, I started with, let me do a shout out to a group that is not getting a shout out, and that is the production crew. The
Oh,
production
yes.
of this documentary is amazing. And that was one
Yeah.
of the 5 times. Like the second time I watched it, I felt like I'm betraying the production crew by not sitting there and indulging in this amazing production they have pulled together from, you name it, from camera work, absolutely amazing.
It's
The L
incredible.
cuts in the edit
Incredible.
is like wow. And I love doing what I do behind the scenes. So anyways, that's why I beat you with what that one extra number was, the interest of production part. And
That counts.
exactly. So yes, I second that. I recommend it today, that for someone to watch that movie, actually to two people today to watch it. And I'll be more than happy to watch it for 6th, 7th, 8th. And that's the thing, sometimes you watch something. Exactly. There are movies that I watch once and it's a great movie, but there is not really a second or third time, especially with documentaries, because you already know how we got there. It's done. Flynn the movie is one of those documentaries that you sit there, you watch it, and then you're like, wait, I gotta go. Wait, did I just hear that right? It is like a life lesson. You're learning.
Multiple
Exactly.
life lessons. Yeah.
And that was the second biggest lesson for me. Yes, what kids may not tell you what they're absorbing, but they're like sponges. So it's up to you. What are you letting your kid on their iPhone or whatever devices nowadays are out there just sit there and be brain dead all day? Or are you actually having proper discussion with them and handing them a book to read and then review the book with them? What are you doing with that sponge? Nada. Nothing. That's our society today.
Yeah. And I've heard our pastor talk about this, Pastor Paul Brady at Millennial Church. He talks about how, and I've always said that Satan's never going to come to your door, knock on your front door and say, hey, go rob a bank. And you're like, cool, I'm going to go sin in that way. But what he does is distract us from our relationship with the Father, because as we spend more time with the Lord, reading the word and praying, we become more like Jesus, and we become more strengthened spiritually to respond to situations in a godly manner.
When you say learn how to spot a victim, that was something you said.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times, you don't need training. You just look at a kid and you're like, something's off. That gut feeling, that Holy Spirit moment, hold on to it.
Yes.
You may not know what to do after that. Okay, fine, go learn what to do after that. But that moment, as most of us as adults, we have that feeling. Something is wrong, not just with the kid. I have come across cases where it all started with me just looking at this hijab, very Muslim woman in public. I'm like, something's off. Now I know what to do from there, and I've done. And they turned out to be a rescue case of Live Up to Freedom, because I was right. Something was wrong. The way this woman's walking and the way she's looking down, it's like, now, don't get me wrong, I don't expect that might be because I come from where I come from. But my point is, if you have that feeling, don't override it. And by the way, I'm a huge, as you know, Miriam, I'm a huge fan of mind your own business. But this isn't a business of yours or theirs. We're talking kids involved, okay? You can't just say, I feel like something is wrong. I mean, we've heard cases, Miriam. Something is wrong, but we don't say anything. And then years later, months later, there was a dad who ended up killing the whole family. And we're just like, oh, I should have said something. No, you should have done something.
Yes.
Worst case scenario, your gut feeling is wrong. You apologize for misunderstanding, walk away. Best case scenario, you just save somebody's life. That's my take on it.
That's right.
And by the way, so I'm going to step very quickly into the producer position. We are due for our last ad break whenever you're ready.
Oh, that's great. Really quick, before we do that, I just want to say one thing that I think that stops people is that it doesn't affect them. And Riley Gaines even said that she didn't stand up to the transgender cult until it affected her, the whole guy that pretended to be Leah Thomas. And she said to me in an interview, she said, Miriam, I shouldn't have waited till it affected me. And that's what we have to do as Americans. We have to stand up and speak the truth before it comes to our doorstep, because then it will be too late. Y'all don't go anywhere. We're going to have a quick ad break and we'll be right back.
Well, hello everybody, it's Annie Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com. finish this painting, but I'm sure, or at least I hope, I'll see you at lutfthestudio.com.
I love your work, Ina Cyrus. So she is a master of, people say jack of all trades, master of none. That's a saying, but she is the master of many trades. And first of all, she doesn't write anything down, so her memory, I have to give a shout out to your memory, Ina's. And then, of course, your production, your creativity, and how you can really make a dollar go 20,000 different ways. And then your artwork is incredible. And the last time you were on, you were talking about resin and what it is, and the work you do with that is so interesting. I wanted to say on that ad, there was a turquoise piece that was kind of maybe leaning up against something, and I was wondering what that was.
That is actually, I still do them, but that is specific one you talk about. It is a Middle Eastern pattern set of coasters. They come in
Ooh.
4 to 6 pieces. Yes.
So vases, coasters. Is there anything you can't make out of resin? I mean, you can really use it for most everything, right?
Pretty much, yes, you can. There are pieces that I don't do, but if a mold is made for it, you can make it. Yes.
Wow. So if somebody wanted to do something custom, how could they do that? They would just email you?
No, all they need to do is go to lutfstudio.com. On the left-hand side bar. There's a button that says contact the seller. When they click
Okay.
on that, they can send me a message with all the details, or just send a message saying, I want something customized, contact me. If they leave a phone number, I give them a call back. If they leave an email address, I email them back, and we, go over all the details. And I normally, I believe it or not, Miriam, I really enjoy custom orders because
Oh,
it's
wow.
it's a good challenge. When I'm doing it myself, it's not a challenge. It's what was already in my head. But when I'm trying to create somebody else's imagination,
Mm,
that's fun. I like them.
yeah. And I love that it doesn't break. I mean, like you said before, if you hit it with a hammer, but I mean, especially if you have kids or younger kids, I mean, emptying the dishwasher, maybe they're going to try to help you or whatever. And that was always a concern of mine. And now resin plates and things like that are all the rage. And you can use it around kids and you're safe. And so, and they look beautiful. They look like glass plates.
Yes, they even say if you hold one and tap on it, it even sounds like glass. It's just not as heavy and it's not
Wow.
breakable. That's the only
Yeah.
difference. It's a
And
good
I think
planet.
their resin's more pretty. Like I don't know. I just feel like you can do maybe more with it.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that there are so many material that you can mix with it, that there is no way
Yeah.
glass could accept. It would not. It
Yeah.
would not blend in it. But with
Oh
with
yeah.
resin, it has that. I have no idea what the chemical part of it is, but I know it accepts pretty much. There was a piece that I did, and it was a custom order, and the color they wanted, it was very impossible. So I actually use eyeshadow to create the color, and it
What?
accepted it, and it worked. And I was like, yay! Oh yeah, I can mix my eyeshadow or lipstick for that matter to my resin and
Oh
create
my
the color I
word.
need.
I You are the master problem solver. That I was like when I first started this, you guys, I have these like earbud things in my ear so I can hear her. And I was like, "Oh, sometimes I want to put my hair back, but you're going to see it." And she's just like, "Just use a bobby pin. Just put it." I was like, "Why didn't I think of that?" I just absolutely love it. So anyway, lutfstudio.com, use the code mission and y'all will get a discount as well. So don't forget that, and you help the Mission for Freedom podcast. So anyway, we just be so honored if you supported Ina's, you supported us, and you get amazing products. And you don't have to do custom. You can just hop on her website, lutfstudio.com, and just see her products there. But thank y'all so much. Just check out the website and then you'll know what we're talking about. But I wanted to tell you guys and you, Ina's, a story because it happened, I think it was yesterday. So my 18-year-old son, there was a little situation about, a movie that was going to be shown. And since he's turned 18, we had a little conversation about you, instead of me researching the movie and telling you yes or no, now you research the movie and you come to me and tell me what you decided and why. And we've been doing that this year since he turned 18. And I found myself in this situation. I was like, I heard about it and I saw the rating. I was like, nope. And he's like, wait, what happened to me researching this and coming to you? I'm like, no, the rating. And I just kind of followed the way our family works. And then that made him want to go see it. And so then I prayed about it. I called a friend who is super wise with kids and has helped kids, and she just loves the Lord and gives really sound godly advice. And so I just told her about it. And so we talked through it. I prayed about it. And so I went back to my son. I said, you know what? I'm going to let you decide. And but what I want to tell you is so funny, because you were talking about how kids are like sponges. So this dude, my kid has been like the master negotiator. I've always told him since he was 8 years old, you need to go to law school. I mean, he's an amazing, amazing negotiator. And so he talked to me and he said, well, you watch XYZ and let's just Google and see, what's in that. And that kid took out his phone, Googled the series, literally says some of the words out loud. And I'm like, my child just said this word to
Busted.
me, and it was, I just sat there and like, oh, I was so mad, but everything he said was true. And so I did tell my friend about that, and she's like, yeah, they don't miss a stinking beat, not one beat. And so after I had that conversation, I went and I told him that, and he had softened a little bit as well. And he's like, I'll pray about it and I'll research it, and then I'll talk to you about it. Just like normal, just like we had agreed to do this whole year until I went off the rails and decided to do something different. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. And but it just reinforced the fact to me that like it can be bad, right? If you're talking about one thing but you're doing another, your kids see that discrepancy. But also it works in your favor. Like I've taken him to city council meetings where there were protests about wearing masks in our city. And he went and he talks about that on and off. Like he'll never forget that. So, and of course, Mary Flynn O'Neill talked about her mom taking she and General Flynn to the U.S. Capitol, and she's never forgotten that. So it can work in your favor as well.
Yes, and as you know, I have not been yet blessed by children or a child, but I have always had in my head that I will not be the mom who's going to tell them what to do and what not to do. I will give them all the data they need of my point of view. This is what happened to me when I tried this, and this is what could happen to you. And I will let them make the decision, especially if it comes to what you just said. If it's something that I walk around and do and I tell them, you don't do it. Now, will I have the reasonable discussion of there is an age difference? Yes, certain
That's
things you
right.
got to reach a certain age to do. But that's another problem, actually. A lot of, as much as I did blame the families that let their kid just be, on their phone or whatever, there's the opposite too. Families were so strict that the kid sneaks out of the house and goes find the wrong person to not mind them doing what they're doing. That, Miriam, at the end of the day, it comes all down to one thing, and that's balance.
Yeah.
In any shape or form you look at it, any point of life, there's the guy who discovered alcohol, Rossi, always said overusage of anything is poison, even medication, and underusage of anything is waste of material. It's all about balance. There are so many things that are great for you as long as you keep the balance. The same thing applies to dealing with our kids or your kids or society's kids. But I want to touch on one thing before I leave you, because we have about 5 minutes for you to wrap up the show. You said most people won't do anything about it until it affects them. Nobody can claim that children don't affect them. You know why? Because all of these kids are the future of our country. So that excuse, unfortunately, I don't give that excuse to people who say those. You can't wait for something bad to happen to your kid to care. All of these kids, these are going to carry on the torch of America or any other country. But we're in America, so let's talk about America. If you don't care for what happened to somebody else's child, you flat out don't care what happens to the future of this country. So do me a favor, don't call yourself a patriot. Don't sit there and say I'm a proud American, and absolutely don't tell me you have a preferred party or idol of politics, because clearly you don't care what happens after you die. So who cares? On that
That's right.
note, I want to thank you for letting me come on and ramble on your show.
Um,
And I want to
thank
remind your audience that some new announcements are coming soon. But until then, Mission for Freedom on Rumble is your best place to catch all of Miriam's shows. And I have said this offer to her. She doesn't like compliments much, but you'll be surprised. She is one smart cookie who's not afraid to tell the truth. So go over to Mission for Freedom, subscribe to her Rumble channel, share her videos, and turn on the notification so when she goes on air every Tuesday and Thursday for now, hopefully soon more, right at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, you do not miss a show. Thanks, Miriam.
Oh, thank you, Ines. You're so sweet and kind. And that's why I love Ines. This is what is so, I'm just going to brag on her for a second too. We didn't plan this, but you know, when you have been a child bride, when you've been used, when you've been treated like property, to be so kind and giving and producing my show like this and coming to me and saying, I'd like to do this for you. I mean, just so selfless and sacrificial. It really does make you take notice because it's not really super common, and especially with what she went through in the Islamic Republic of Iran. And it's just it's amazing. It's incredible, and really it's the Lord. I mean, that's the love of God shining through you, Ines. But I wanted to say one thing real quick about children, and just leave you all with this, and then one quote, and then we'll wrap up for today. But Proverbs 22:6 says to train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. And when I grew up, my dad was a pastor. It was not up for discussion. We were going to church on Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. And granted, you say, oh, well, he was the pastor. If he were not the pastor, we were there every time the door was open. And so, I have a friend, a friend who has not really been going to church inside the building, just kind of watching online. And that's the beauty of technology when you're traveling, whatever. But I think it's real easy to get into the online mode and not go to church. But there's something about going to church, and I'm so grateful to my parents who didn't give me the option, that just said this is what we do, because that's what the Bible says to do, to train them. And training is not pleasant. The Bible talks about that. Training is never pleasant at the time, but it reaps a harvest. And that's the key, is then you look back and you look at your kids and you see them, pursuing God and loving them, and you're like, they hated me probably at times. They probably said, I'm the worst parent ever. But even my child, when I said no to certain things, and a couple years later, he's like, Mom, thank you. They can see the flip side of how something turned out, and they're like, thank you for saying no. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for protecting me. And so anyway, I just wanted to share that scripture with you. And then just hanging with your kids. Like sometimes I'll have my kid will be on his phone for a while, and he'll be upstairs, I'll be downstairs watching whatever, and I'll just be like, "Hey, come downstairs and hang out with us." And he's like, "Okay." So I give him the space, but I always am looking, to create connection and not let us just be on our phones and all of that. But I know that we need to educate our kids, and as they get older, give them more and more freedom to make decisions and really learn from natural consequences as well. But there is something about teaching and training, and when they're young, and as they're getting older, is to be so intentional about pouring the love of God. It's the love of God that leads men to repentance, and showing them the agape love of Jesus Christ. I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining us today. Thank you, Ines, for joining me. And until next time, stay in the fight, stay in the battle. Thank you for joining us with Mission for Freedom, and have a great day.